They say space is silent. But aboard the horizon, silence isn't peace. It's tension. It's something unspoken, waiting to be broken. Commander Jack Mercer has survived 100 missions, stared down a dozen nebulae, and made peace with the idea that nothing in the galaxy surprises him anymore. Until her. An alien ambassador. A single phrase spoken without thought. And a meaning far deeper than he could have imagined. It was just a compliment. But on her world, it was a vow. What follows isn't just miscommunication between two species. It's the spark of something sacred, something forbidden. And now, hunted by pirates, trapped inside a living storm, they must fight side by side. Not just to survive, but to understand what's been awakened between them. Stay with us. Because what begins here is the first step toward a bond the galaxy may not be ready for. They say space is silent. But that's not really true. Space hums. If you listen long enough, you'll hear it. The slow pulse of energy moving through nothing. The whisper of radiation against hull plates. The quiet breath of stars, dying, being born again. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, space screams. Inside the starship horizon, the lights are low. Everything's calm. Too calm. Like the ship is holding its breath. In a quiet corridor, lined with smooth gray metal, a man stands alone. Commander Jack Mercer. Mid-30s. Rough around the edges, like a pilot who's seen too much, but still finds reasons to smirk. He leans against the wall, cradling a mug of what's supposed to be coffee. Steam curls from the top of it. But the smell? Burnt wires and disappointment. A classic from the Terran Exploration Corps. Jack doesn't seem to mind. His eyes are fixed on the viewport next to him, watching something few people will ever see with their own eyes. A nebula. Huge. Alive. A swirling cloud of violet and gold stretches across the stars like spilled paint on black canvas. It pulses, softly. Not with light, but with rhythm. Like the heartbeat of the universe. Jack watches it, but he doesn't look amazed. Not anymore. Jack, VO, thoughtful. The thing about beauty is, when you've been chased by monsters through it, watched it light up the ruins of ships and the eyes of dying men, even the stars get old. Then, she arrives. Footsteps. Light. Precise. Not rushed but not hesitant, either. He doesn't have to turn to know who it is. He already knows. Ambassador Lyra. An alien. But not the kind people imagine when they say that word. She's tall. Almost too tall. Her skin glows faintly in the hallway lights like moonlight caught in glass. And her eyes. They shift color, fluid and alive, like liquid gems. Silver. Blue. Deep green. A language all their own. She stands beside him, not too close, not too far. Just enough to remind him she's watching. Lyra, calm, melodic. Commander Mercer. Jack doesn't turn at first. He takes another sip from his awful drink. Then sighs. Jack, dryly. Ambassador Lyra. How can I help the diplomatic corps today? Lyra. I wish to review the next planetary scan. Your pilot mentioned a gas giant. My people require accurate data. Jack finally turns to look at her. She's as still as ever, like a statue carved from ice and starlight. He smirks. Jack. Right. The gas ball. Big. Round. Super gassy. Should look great on your council's report. There's a pause. Lyra tilts her head slightly, just a few degrees. It's the same motion a hawk might make before it decides if something is alive or lunch. Her voice is neutral. Lyra, I do not understand. Was that humor? Jack chuckles quietly, rubbing his face with one hand. Jack. Maybe. Hard to say out here. They fall into silence. But it's not cold. It's the kind of silence that feels like the space between two thoughts. Between two people, who don't know each other yet. But might. Outside the window, the nebula pulses again. Purple light spills across the corridor. Casts shadows on the floor. Paints her face in otherworldly colors. She looks like she doesn't belong in this universe. And yet, somehow, Jack thinks she might be the only real thing left in it. The bridge of the horizon is alive with sound, light, and frustration. Screens flicker. Panels beep. The hum of the ship is constant, like the low growl of some mechanical beast trying to stay awake. And in the middle of it all, chaos. Davis, the ship's pilot, is waving his arms at the console like it just insulted his mother. Across from him, the ship's AI Alfred responds in a calm, too patient voice that only makes things worse. Alfred, flat, robotic. The universe is not static. Your logic is flawed. Davis, snapping. I'm not debating metaphysics with a glorified calculator. There's a pause. A flicker. Then Alfred responds again, exact same tone. Alfred. I am not a calculator. I am your superior in all measurable functions. Davis. Oh, come on. Standing near the central console, Jack Mercer watches with an expression somewhere between amusement and resignation. Beside him, Lyra. She stands straight-backed, hands folded neatly in front of her. Her silver-green eyes shift gently, reflecting the lights around her. She's observing. Processing. To her, this is alien behavior. Jack glances sideways at her. Jack, dryly. Welcome to humanity. For a moment, she says nothing. Her gaze lingers on Davis, still mid-argument, now waving a daytop hat for dramatic effect. Her head tilts slightly, like she's cataloging a new species. Then, she speaks. Lyra, softly. I think I'm beginning to understand. Jack turns to look at her fully now. And for the first time since she stepped aboard the horizon, she smiles. Not a full smile. Just the faintest curve at the edge of her mouth, like a shadow of warmth on a cold surface. But it's there. And it stops Jack in his tracks. For a second, too long a second, he forgets about the bridge. About the nebula. About the hundreds of light years between them and anything that feels like home. He just looks at her. Because in that moment, she doesn't look alien. She looks like something familiar dressed in mystery. Like a secret the universe was keeping, just for him. In the background, Davis is still yelling at Alfred. Alfred is still correcting him with smug monotone precision. But out here in this quiet corner of the stars, Jack and Lyra share something unspoken. A look. A pause. A beginning. The mess hall is quiet. Unusually quiet. Just the soft hum of the ship's systems and the faint clink of metal utensils on trays no one's really eating from. Jack Mercer sits alone at a corner table, poking half-heartedly at what's supposed to be protein stew. It has the consistency of warm engine grease, and the color to match. He doesn't seem to mind. Or notice. His mind is somewhere else. The door hisses open. Footsteps. Slow. Steady. Light. But not hesitant. He looks up. It's Lyra. She moves with that same fluid grace she always does, like she was sculpted for zero gravity. But something about her today feels different. More focused. More personal. She walks straight toward him, stopping just across the table. For a moment, she says nothing. Then, with a voice softer than usual, almost like a question hidden inside a statement. Lyra. Do you avoid me, Commander? Jack freezes. The spoon slips slightly in his grip. He blinks up at her, caught completely off guard. Jack. What? No. I mean, not really. He shifts in his seat, uncomfortable in a way that has nothing to do with posture. Jack, fumbling. I just figured you needed space. You're, a diplomat. And I'm not. Lyra watches him carefully. Not judging. Not accusing. Just observing. Her eyes flicker into a calm teal, the color of gentle waves. She speaks, and her tone is like a hand reaching across the space between them. Lyra, softly. I came here to understand humans. Not to be kept at a distance from them. The words land gently. But they land deep. Jack looks down at his tray, as if it might have answers. Then he exhales. That half laugh, half sigh he does when he doesn't know what else to say. He looks back at her. Jack, sarcastic. Well, if you came here to understand humans, you're definitely on the wrong ship. There's a pause. A long one. And then, she almost smiles. Not quite. Just a tiny shift at the corner of her mouth. A flicker of warmth in a face trained for diplomacy. A trace of something human. In someone not. They stand like that for a few seconds. Not talking. Not explaining. Just existing in the same space. The silence between them doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels like possibility. The bridge is calmer now. The earlier chaos has faded into the usual background noise, buttons blinking, quiet hums, voices murmuring over headsets. A rare moment of peace. Jack stands at the main console, half focused, half daydreaming. To his left, Lyra is reviewing something on a screen, quiet, focused, elegant as always. Davis is across the room, arguing with the AI again, but the noise has faded into the background. Jack glances at Lyra. And for just a second, he lets his guard drop. She's standing in soft starlight from the viewport. Skin catching the light like moonstone. Eyes flickering between shades of silver and blue. The nebula outside reflects across her features, painting her in a glow no human could ever wear. And without meaning to, without thinking at all, Jack speaks. Jack, softly, without planning. You look beautiful today, Lyra. Silence. The bridge seems to stop breathing. No alarms. No motion. No sounds. Just a sudden, dense stillness of too many meanings in too few words. Lyra blinks. Slowly. Her eyes flash. From calm silver to startled, burning gold. Not anger. Not joy. Something deeper. Older. Like he just opened a door that should have stayed locked. And then, she turns. Wordless. Swift. Graceful. She walks off the bridge. Fast. Too fast. She doesn't look back. Jack blinks, still frozen in place. His words still hanging in the air like smoke after a fire. Behind him, Davis chewing something grins. Davis, chuckling. Smooth the move, Romeo. Jack groans, dragging a hand down his face. His stomach sinks with a slow, cold realization that he has no idea what just happened. But he's definitely going to regret it. The observation deck is quiet. Dim blue lights run along the floor. Outside the massive window, the stars drift slowly across the void like ancient lanterns lost in the dark. Jack Mercer stands near the center, arms folded, pacing just slightly. He's waiting. Nervous. He turns at the sound of footsteps. It's Lyra. She enters with her usual grace, but there's something different in her posture. Tighter. More rigid. Her shoulders square, like she's preparing for battle. She stops a few feet from him. They stand in silence, the stars painting soft patterns on their faces. Then she speaks. Lyra, quiet, but firm. In my culture, to call someone beautiful is not casual. Her voice is steady, almost too steady. Lyra. It is a vow. A sacred bond. It means, I see your soul, and I choose it. Jack blinks. Whatever he was expecting, it wasn't that. Jack, awkwardly. I didn't mean it that way. He fidgets, shifts his weight. Jack. I didn't know. I swear, I was just trying to say something kind. Lyra tilts her head slightly. Her eyes shimmer, shifting from pale silver to a quiet, unreadable blue. She steps closer. Not accusing. Just searching. Lyra, softer. You speak without weight. But your words carry more than you understand. She pauses. There's something fragile in her voice now. Something rarely heard from someone trained to speak for worlds. Lyra. My feelings confuse me. Humans confuse me. That lands deeper than she probably meant it to. Jack doesn't know how to answer. For once, the sarcasm dies on his tongue. He just looks at her. Really looks. And for the briefest moment. Just one. They are not ambassador and commander. They are just two beings. Lost in space. Trying to understand each other. And then, the moment shatters. A shrill alarm blares, echoing through the ship. Red lights flash. EVA, AI voice. Unidentified vessel approaching. Power signature, hostile. All crew to alert stations. The magic is gone. Ripped away by reality. Jack looks at Lyra. She's already turning, mask sliding back into place. Professional. Cold. Ready. Lyra, flat. We'll continue this later. She walks away, and Jack is left staring out into the stars. Knowing that whatever just started between them will have to wait. The sound of metal boots slamming against the floor. Sparks fly as cutting torches rip through the outer hatch. Smoke rolls into the corridor. The first pirate bursts through armor covered, twice the size of a man. Snarling. Armed. But he barely takes 2 steps. Lyra moves. It's not fighting. It's art. She slides through space like liquid moonlight. No wasted motion. No hesitation. A twist. A duck. A strike to the throat, swift and silent. The pirate collapses, choking on nothing. Another lunges. She steps sideways. slams an elbow under the chin, spins, disarms him mid-movement. His weapon hits the floor before his body does. Jack watches from behind cover, stunned. Not by the danger, but by her. Her precision, her calm, her absolute control. She's not just a diplomat. She's a weapon-wearing silk. A third pirate charges her with a roar. She meets him head-on. They clash brutal, fast. But she doesn't flinch. 1, 2, 3 strikes. He falls. Silence. Smoke drifts. The hallway still hums with tension. But no one's left standing. Except her. Jack steps out slowly, weapon still in hand, but no longer needed. He looks at her. Really looks. She's breathing steady. Not a scratch on her. Her eyes meet his, silver burning faintly at the edges. Jack, breathless, mutters, "Okay. That was hot." Lyra raises an eyebrow. Just slightly. No smile. But no denial either. She turns wordlessly, stepping over the fallen pirates like they were furniture. Jack exhales slowly, adjusting his grip on the blaster. Jack, to himself. Yeah. Definitely not cargo. The lights flicker. Sparks jump from an overloaded console. Smoke curls through the air like it's trying to escape. 2. More pirate ships have arrived. 2. No, 3. All armed. All hostile. Closing in fast. The horizon groans beneath the pressure, systems pushed to the edge. The screen shows red blips surrounding them like predators tightening the noose. Sora Lynn shouts from the weapons station. Sora. Shields at 22%. Weapons at half charge. Jack grips the console edge, knuckles white. They are outnumbered. Outgunned. Running out of sky. And time. He looks to Lyra. She's standing near the viewport. Calm. Still. Her eyes closed. She's not panicking. She's listening to something deeper than radar. Lyra, quietly. There's a nebula nearby. Dense. Electromagnetic interference. Their scanners won't work inside. Jack turns. Jack. Neither will ours. Lyra, opening her eyes, glowing faintly. My people do not use machines to navigate. We feel heat, vibration, energy. She steps forward. Lyra, I can guide us, but only if you trust me. A pause. Jack stares at her. Smoke behind her. Warnings flashing all around. But her voice, steady, unshaken. Something about it, about her, breaks through the noise. He grins. Not the cocky kind. The kind that says, "What the hell, let's do this." Jack, softly. Then let's get lost together. Lyra's head tilts. Just slightly. A flicker of something in her eyes. Approval. Or maybe, something else. She turns to the helm. Jack calls out. Jack, to Kai. Plot a course straight into the storm. Kai. You're serious? Jack. Nope. But do it anyway. Outside, the nebula looms. A swirling wall of light and chaos. To any other ship, it's a death trap. But to them, it's a hiding place. A path through the unknown. And maybe, just maybe, A second chance. The horizon dives toward the nebula like a silver blade slipping into velvet. Before them stretches the wall of purple mist, not gas, not cloud, but something in between. Alive. Shifting. Breathing. The stars vanish. Like someone pulled the plug on the universe. Int. Starship horizon, bridge. As soon as they cross the boundary, everything changes. The lights dim. The hum of the engines seems quieter. Even the ship itself feels like it's holding its breath. No sensors. No radar. Just thick, violet fog pressing against the viewports like the inside of a dream. Kai, nervous. We are officially flying blind. Jack, softly. Not blind. We've got her. He turns to Lyra. She's standing at the center of the bridge, eyes closed. Still. Listening. The glow in her skin pulses gently. Her hands hover just above the console, never touching, like she's reading the vibrations in the air itself. Lyra, focused. They are behind us. 3 ships. They are spreading out, trying to corner us. Jack, without hesitation. Let's disappoint them. EXT Nebula, inside the maelstrom. The horizon twists hard to port. The nebula churns around in swirls of plasma and dark lightning sparking in slow motion. Streaks of green and gold flash in the distance. Flares. Engine trails. The pirates are hunting. But Lyra guides the ship like she's following music only she can hear. Int. Bridge. EVA, AI. External visibility, 0. Tactical interface, offline. Probability of survival, statistically declining. Jack, grinning. Appreciate the pep talk. Suddenly, a deep rumble rolls through the ship. The walls vibrate. A distant, ghostly hum like the nebula itself is warning them. Kai. What was that? Lyra, calmly. Pulse sweep. They are using energy bursts to try and flush us out. Sora. Can we counter it? Jack. No. But we can stay quiet. He turns to Lyra. She nods once. Lyra. Kill the engines. The ship goes still. Completely still. Drifting in the mist. Lights dim to emergency glow. Silence falls heavy and complete. Outside, the nebula roars like a distant storm. The horizon disappears. Int. Bridge, moments later. Everyone is holding their breath. Listening. Waiting. Lyra, barely a whisper. They are close. She tilts her head. Eyes still closed. Lyra. 1 to port. 20 meters. Another above us, moving fast. Jack, softly. Can they see us? Lyra. They are guessing. We're ghosts to them now. A low, glowing flicker cuts across the mist outside. A pirate ship. Too close. But it doesn't fire. It doesn't even slow. It doesn't see them. Jack, quietly. If this works, I'm buying you dinner. Lyra, without opening her eyes. I do not require food. Jack. Then something better. Another rumble. A wave of static across the hull. They are not out yet. But for now, they are invisible. Drifting. Silent. Waiting for the next move. The horizon drifts in silence. Wrapped in mist. Buried deep inside the belly of the nebula. The crew barely moves. No one speaks. Breathing feels like a risk. Then a tremor. Subtle. Low. But felt in the bones. Lyra's eyes snap open. They shine bright silver, now pulsing faintly, like they are echoing something none of the others can hear. She speaks quickly. Not loud. But with a kind of certainty that makes everyone freeze. Lyra, urgent. Vorgath is coming from below. I can feel the pressure shift. The heat signature. The sound of his engines in the current. Jack, steady. Then tell me where to aim. She steps forward. No hesitation. Jack sits at the weapons console, hands poised. Waiting. Trusting. She raises one hand, slowly guiding him like a conductor before the final note. Lyra, calm. Down 15 degrees. Hold. Now 3 left. Wait. A beat of silence. Then. Lyra whispers. Now. Jack fires. EXT Nebula, below. The horizon unleashes a single shot. Clean, bright, and deadly. A plasma bolt cutting through the mist like lightning through fog. It hits. Directly. Perfectly. Vorgatha's battleship erupts in a bloom of white-orange flame. The sound is muffled, swallowed by the nebula. But the light. It lights up the entire sky. Metal breaks. Debris spins. Then the wreck vanishes into the fog. Int. Bridge, horizon. No one speaks. The glow from the explosion reflects in Lyra's eyes. Now fading from silver back to soft moon gray. Jack exhales slowly. A moment later. The stars return. The horizon slips free of the nebula. Out of the storm. Back into open space. EXT space, the void. All is quiet. The nebula shrinks behind them like a dying god. The stars blink open again, one by one. Int. Bridge, stillness. Jack leans back. His hands finally relax. He turns to Lyra, who's already watching him. They don't speak. They don't have to. Because sometimes the most powerful words are the ones left unspoken. The storm is over. The bridge is quiet now. No alarms. No flashing lights. Just the soft, steady hum of life returning. Kai leans back in his chair, breathing hard. Sora wipes soot off her forehead. Everyone's a little bruised. A little burned. But alive. Jack stands near the central console, watching the stars slide past outside the viewport. His chest rises and falls with a slow, grateful breath. Then. He turns. Lyra is there. Standing in the same place she always does. But somehow, nothing feels the same anymore. Her posture is softer. Her presence, warmer. Her eyes, no longer unreadable. For the first time. They are simply open. Jack steps toward her. No smirk. No sarcasm. Just honesty. Jack, softly. You look beautiful today. A pause. And then. Lyra smiles. Not the polite, practiced smile of a diplomat. This one is different. It's real. And strange. And entirely her own. Alien. And beautiful. Lyra, quietly, with affection. And you are a fool. Jack grins. A little sheepish. A little proud. Jack. Yeah. But I'm your fool. And then she laughs. softly, melodically. A sound like starlight breaking across glass. A sound that doesn't belong in any war zone or council chamber. A sound no one else in the galaxy has ever heard. He watches her. Like he's just found something he didn't even know he was searching for. Together, they turn back to the stars. Not as commander and ambassador. Not as soldier and emissary. But as two souls. Once strangers, now something more. Something undefined. Something fragile. Something that, in the silence of space, just might last. She smiled. He understood. And the stars felt it. They escaped the storm. They defeated the pirates. But something far more dangerous has already taken root. A connection not meant to form. A vow not meant to be spoken. And a war that may begin, not with weapons, but with feelings. Jack and Lyra didn't just survive. They changed. Now the galaxy watches. Because what started with a single sentence may soon echo across worlds that were never meant to touch. This is only the beginning. What comes next will test their loyalty, their courage, and the limits of everything we thought we knew about alien contact. Stay tuned, because the next transmission may change everything.